Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm good.
How are you feeling today?
I'm fine.
What do you think of your son as your caregiver?
Fantastic.
Really? So he's a good caregiver.
Yes.
What makes him a good caregiver?
He's there every time I need him.
Caregiving, increasingly black sons taking on the role, usually carried out by black daughters.
So it was as if one day I woke up and I felt like I was a hostage to caregiving.
The joy, the pain, the frustration, and the love of caring for a parent. Now on Blackland.
And now,
As a brown person, you just feel so invisible.
That's not fiction. Where we're from.
Brothers and sisters, I welcome you to this joyful day.
We celebrate freedom. Where we are.
Get on the ground!
I know someone heard something.
And where we're going.
We the people means all the people.
The Black Information Network presents Blackland with your host, Vanessa Tyler.
It's something we all must face if we're lucky enough to have a parent still living. But it's not easy. Caregiving, full-time, not the weekly visits, but the 24/7 type of on-demand care. Lynette Robinson knows it all too well. She is the CEO and founder of Lynette Consulting and Caregiving Planning. She made it through and now helping others dealing with it too. Lynette, welcome.
Thank you, Vanessa.
When did you and why did you start this support group?
So I started this support group when my mother that was diagnosed with MS at the age of 80. I didn't know anything about being a caregiver, but I realized at that point how much I needed direction and instructions on how to navigate the plethora of resources that were available to me to be a caregiver. The services, I had to connect them so that I could build my own personal patient-centered care plan for my mother.
That plan she calls the 5-petal plan.
The 5-petal plan was, I can't, I'll try, I need help, I'm empowered, and I'm released.
Released could mean your parent passes on.
Well, not necessarily passes on. Being released means that they've gotten better. Means released means that they've gone into some type of a long-term managed care facility.
How tough is it to be a caregiver full-time 24/7? What does it do to the person who's actually doing the caring?
Oh my goodness. That is a hard question. And the reason why I'm saying it's a hard question is it's a hard stop. It's difficult. It's very difficult because you also have to take into consideration the financial situation.
Caryl Lucas is a longtime sister friend of mine, and for years she was a caregiver. Her mother had COPD and sadly recently died, just short of her 90th birthday. Now Caryl is renovating her mother's house in New Jersey to put it up for sale.
Caryl, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I must say you are on the other side of this issue. Sadly, you are no longer a caregiver, and my condolences. How do you cope when it's over?
You know, I was just asking myself that question, Vanessa, as well, because sometimes caregivers forget that the other part of the journey begins when our loved ones leave us. So how I'm coping is I'm really doing a lot of deep reflection, and I'm reprioritizing what's important after the day-to-day duties and sacrifices that often come with caregiving.
How tough was it? The toll physically, the toll emotionally?
For me, as an entrepreneur and a healer and someone that's been very social, working to encourage girls and women, the number one sacrifice that I realized hit me really hard was time. Caregiving took away my social time from my business and Foundation Unstoppable Girls, but then more importantly, my quality time and freedom to be with friends, to be social, and stay active with my own freedom for exercising and in just enjoying, like, the arts and culture. And I realized as my mother declined with her health, the demands of caregiving became more demanding. So it was as if one day I woke up and I felt like I was a hostage to caregiving.
As Carol's mother continued to live, she also continued to die. And Carol discovered another year passing by.
Yes, it was a couple of years. In the first 2 years, I was able to maintain life balance, including, my work as an entrepreneur, as well as, I'm going to say, a mentor. But as the task became more demanding, it became very draining. I'm going to say emotionally as well as even financially, because it impacted my ability to continue building my business and the work that I was doing, socially as well as emotionally. Caregiving takes a lot out of you. And sometimes if you don't have the right tools and the village to support you and give you time off breaks and others pouring into you, you can really end up sometimes depleted, even though it's a very special assignment.
Last year, realizing the estimated 48 million caregiving families need help, President Biden signed an executive order directing federal agencies to find a better way to support caregivers.
More than 1 in every 5 adults is a family caregiver. This order recognizes the labor of love and makes sure family caregivers are involved and informed when a hospital discharges the one they love, that the caregivers know about the Medicare benefits their loved one qualifies for, that caregivers of veterans have access to mental health support. Folks, there's a lot we can do. We're doing all of this. The United States of America, we should have no one should have to choose between caring for the parents who raised them, the children who depend on them, or the paycheck they rely on to take care of both.
It's a juggling act for sure.
What would you do if your son wasn't there?
I have no idea. I'd run away from home, probably.
You heard her voice earlier. Let me introduce you to Miss Patricia Nelson, Miss Pat for short. She's 85 and dealing with dementia. Her son, Walter, is her rock.
He's a good son, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
You are caring for your mother, your beautiful mother, Pat. What's that like?
What's it like? I have to think back when I was growing up and all the things she did for me. And now it's my turn to take care of her. That's my mother. I have to do this. Can't shirk these responsibilities. And I don't want nobody else. I don't want to pass it on to anybody else. You know what I mean?
He'd rather do it than trust anyone else. So he sacrificed working to be with his mom full time.
What's a typical day like for you and your mom, Pat?
Mom sleeps about, if from here, she'll sleep till go to sleep like 10 o'clock, maybe 11. She'll wake up like 10 o'clock. So she sleeps a good while. Morning is breakfast, usually eggs, grits, toast, some juice. She has her coffee, she has to take her meds. I give her a few extra supplements and stuff. I know. One thing I gotta remember is to keep her hydrated. I think that's a big part to, flushing out your system. That just flushes your brain as well, right? Mm-hmm. Drinking a lot of water each day. But then we have a small lunch, something. Sometimes I cook her BLT. Sometimes she's like peanut butter and jelly. That's fine for her, and a cup of coffee. Sometimes dinner's in the next thing, But typically, she does crossword puzzles. She still know how to play solitaire on her tablet, you know what I mean?
He sees the changes in his mother, and at times, caregivers, if they're honest, it could be a little frustrating too.
Sometimes I get kind of short with her, you know what I mean? I tell her that sometimes I'm sorry that be kind of short with her, I
That's
apologize,
Walter Nelson is part of a growing group, Black men as caregivers. He has no sisters, just a brother who lives in Germany. So it's all on him.
What will you do when you no longer have to care for your mom because at some point it will come to an end? What will that do to you emotionally?
Oh man, emotionally, no, I'm gonna feel alone. All my uncles and aunts and everybody have all passed on. I'm my last living. Well, there are people in Georgia that I don't know. I don't know. People in Jersey City, I don't know. From my cousins from mom's side of the family, but I don't really know them. And like I said, my brother lives in Germany, and mom is gone. I don't know.
And that's what makes it so heartbreaking. The sacred assignment, as Carol Lucas puts it, in honor of your mother and father, doesn't last forever.
I took on the sole responsibility for about 5 years of my mom, but I also shared some of it with my younger brother. But when it comes to caring for women, sometimes mothers and sisters and aunties feel more comfortable with another woman. And there's always been the expectation that it is the daughter's job. However, men and husbands and brothers are now faced with the same responsibility because at times I had to choose work and caring for my mother. And there were times when my youngest brother had to step up and assist, and more men are assisting with caregiving. It's not always spotlighted as much, but sometimes they're also being faced with this challenge of caregiving a woman, a mother, a wife, or a loved one.
When you look back, are there things that you wish that you knew, that you know now, that you wished you knew when you started this journey?
Absolutely. I wish I knew how important it was to gain the financial help needed to caregive. And what I mean by that is most government agencies ask caregivers to share their parents' financials because as they reach that final stage, if they're living at home, you may need support from nurses, aides, and the healthcare professionals that come in through hospice. My mom ended up in hospice at the end. And because we had never really looked at her financials, nor did we downsize her financially, we were unable to get the extra help needed for myself as the main caregiver. The other thing I realize, and I say this to myself lately more than ever, is I wish I would have set greater boundaries that gave me time to prepare Vanessa for when my mother was going to be, um, really, transcending, getting ready to pass on, because life for the caregiver after can be very hard. My business suffered. I gave up like 90% of my work. And now I've been, by the grace of God, picking up the pieces. But I wish I would have known how important it was to continue working and planning, to work and saving and really looking at the bigger financial piece that many caregivers, especially entrepreneurs, sacrifice.
Which is why Lynette Robinson's Lanata Consulting and Caregiving Planning is essential, especially for Black men increasing in number and joining Black women in the role.
So you have roughly 38 million families that are family caregivers, and the Black male constitutes about 3.5% of those caregivers. So as the primary caretaker for the Black family member.
There are so many things caregivers may not think about while in the throes of making sure a parent is okay during the final stages of their lives.
I had a full-time job. A caregiver cannot take care of their loved one full-time and work a full-time job. And many times, in many cases, the full-time job does not allow, especially in the African American community, especially with the African American man, to be able to take time off of work to care for their loved one.
Lynette Robinson says she's glad finally the federal government will add a little backup. Part of the president's order includes training, especially with the cocktail of pills some older parents must take. In a nutshell, it's a lot.
Do you see this problem that we're dealing with getting worse in the future?
I do see the problem getting worse, but I do see a solution to assist the problem from not getting worse, but to get better. If we stand up as a community and we help each other, we provide information, we share information, and we support each other. That's the only way it's going to happen in the African American community, because the outside community, the general population, is not going to help us do that. We have to help ourselves. What happens after is a very individual thing. You have to prepare yourself, first of all, before it happens. You have to prepare yourself, but there's so many things that happen afterwards. Like if we're looking at generational wealth, if your parent owned a house or owned property or had assets, how do you protect those for yourself or your siblings or your children? How do you do that? That's a conversation. How do you protect yourself? That's another conversation, because maybe you need to see your primary care physician, because once you've gone through the process of being a caregiver and then it's over, you need to support and have support for yourself, because it's a mental thing that can happen to you because all of a sudden it's over.
For caregivers like Lynette and Caryl, when it's over, they can rest easy. They did their best.
When I close my eyes at night, I feel that my demonstration was honor your parent, for your days shall be long. And when I open up my eyes and look at a picture in my room that has a picture of my mom and I smile. I think this has been my greatest assignment. It's been a spiritual one for me in spite of the sacrifices. But I can hear my mom saying, thank you, daughter. I wouldn't have made it without you. Job well done. And then I also sometimes smile and I can really say to myself, you gave her the greatest love of all. Job well done, daughter.
Caryl Lucas, the best daughter ever. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you so much.
Miss Pat and her son Walter are heading out. They'll run some errands. She'll get some fresh air and sunshine.
Well, Walter Nelson, you are a good son. God bless you, and God bless your mother. Bye, Miss Nelson.
Bye-bye.
Have a beautiful day.
Oh, thank you.
If you need support as a caregiver, Lynette Robinson's door is always open.
You can visit me on Instagram at Care for the Caregivers by Miss Lynn, or you can email me directly, because I am always here to answer questions, build support systems, and come to your community and talk with you and have a symposium with anyone. So you can email me directly at lcconsulting.caregivingplanning@gmail.com, or I have a personal email. You can email me at lynrob10@gmail.com.
Lynette Robinson, thank you so much for talking with us, and thank you for your big heart and all you've done.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tyler. I appreciate it. Once again, I want to thank you for giving me this platform to be able to reach out to caregivers.
Be sure to like and subscribe to Blackland. I'm Vanessa Tyler. Join me next week for a brand new episode.